Chapter 6. The Architect Columbus, GA, October 19th, 2027, 5:47 a.m. TJ stood at the back of the middle school gym, staring down at the shallow grave they'd dug with cafeteria trays and broken rulers. Mr. Clyde lay wrapped in a school flag. Kendrick stood beside him, holding the only thing Clyde ever asked to be buried with, his key ring, the one he'd carried every day for 30 years. TJ lowered the flag and whispered,
"You died for us. Now I'll kill for you."
The wind howled, but TJ didn't shiver. Not anymore. Atlanta, FEMA Command Center, abandoned, 6:12 a.m. A massive wall of surveillance screens flickered. Power was scarce, but one room still ran, the control center once used by FEMA to coordinate disaster response. Now, it was home to a man known only as the Architect. Real name, Jonas Blackwood. Former title, FEMA Contingency Director, Southeast Region. Current title, Supreme Commander of Brick Nation. Tall, bald, ice blue eyes, dressed in a black thermal jumpsuit and red gloves. Around his neck hung a medallion, a circuit board from the last government drone he dismantled. He stood in front of a map of Georgia, dotted with red X's. Behind him, General Bangs, Lil Munchie, and 5 other Brick Nation lieutenants listened like soldiers in church.
"The coal wiped the slate clean,"
Blackwood said.
"The weak still beg for power, but we, Brick Nation, are the power now."
Bangs grinned.
"So when do we strike the shelters?"
Blackwood turned, calm and slow.
"When they believe help is coming, that's when you strike."
He flipped a switch. One of the screens lit up with a FEMA logo. Fake Rescue Mission, ETA, 24 hours.
"We've reprogrammed the lost emergency drone,"
Blackwood said.
"It will tell them salvation is coming. They'll stay put. And then,"
he smiled coldly,
"we turn their hope into heat."
Columbus, Kendrick's shelter, 8:02 a.m. Keisha wiped tears as she hung Clyde's photo on the wall, right above the phrase scrawled in permanent marker.
"Died for the kids, lived with honor."
TJ stood taller now. Same kid. New fire. He walked up to Mirage, who was sharpening a blade by the door.
"You still think I ain't ready?"
Mirage glanced at him, then handed him the blade.
"You'll know you're ready when you kill with your mind, not your anger."
"Guess we'll see,"
TJ said, gripping it tight. Atlanta, safe zone, 10:14 a.m. Lotto and Cato sat in an old barbershop with maps, radios, and a fire pit. They didn't talk much. They were men of action. But they both felt it. A shift. Brick Nation wasn't just street soldiers anymore. They were organized, intelligent, brutal. Cato leaned in. Lotto nodded.
"Yeah, silence before slaughter."
Just then the radio crackled.
"FEMA chopper en route to Columbus. Shelter, stay where you are."
The room went quiet. Keisha stepped forward.
"FEMA's not coming."
Lotto raised an eyebrow.
"You sure?"
Keisha stared at the flames.
"Because the man who's sending that message used to work with me."
Flashback. 2 years ago, FEMA training facility. Keisha walked the halls of FEMA's Atlanta Operations Center in heels and a badge. She wasn't just a stripper. She was recruited for her street knowledge to work undercover on disaster response teams. That's when she met Jonas Blackwood, the newly appointed Architect of Emergency Operations. He was charming, quiet, deadly smart, but he had theories, ones that scared her.
"The South is bloated, weak, too many dependents. One disaster, and the real survivors will reveal themselves. The rest, collateral."
She reported him once. They transferred her, then let him rise. Back in the present, Columbus Shelter, 11 a.m. The drone hovered over the school, dropping a speaker message. The crowd cheered. Kendrick didn't. TJ walked up beside him.
"You believe that?
Nope.
What we do?"
Kendrick looked toward the woods.
We find where that message came from, and burn the lie before it kills us.
Chapter 7. False Prophets, Columbus, GA, October 19th, 2027, 11:47 a.m., outside the middle school shelter. The FEMA drone circled like a silent god overhead, repeating the same message every 10 minutes. Inside the shelter, people were smiling for the first time in days. Kids laughed, elders prayed, some even started packing their bags. But Kendrick wasn't smiling. Neither was Mirage, who sat in the corner cleaning her rifle with an old t-shirt and a shard of mirror. TJ paced, gripping his newly sharpened blade. He didn't trust anything in the sky anymore.
That FEMA voice sound too calm,
he said.
Exactly.
Kendrick replied.
Hope shouldn't sound like a trap.
They had to know where it came from, and what was coming with it. 45 minutes later, on foot, Kendrick, TJ, and Mirage moved through a frozen rail yard half a mile from the shelter, following the drone's path with a handheld GPS Mirage had stolen from a National Guard corps 2 weeks ago. Every few minutes the drone hovered, as if it knew they were coming. They pushed through snow, broken fences, and overturned train cars. TJ was breathing heavy. Cold gnawed at his chest. Suddenly, Mirage raised a hand.
Stop.
TJ froze. Up ahead, nestled between 2 train containers, was a signal repeater, the kind FEMA used to broadcast alerts. But it was tagged, red spray paint, BN, Brick Nation. Mirage's jaw clenched.
They built a fake FEMA signal. It's all a setup.
Kendrick examined the device. It was protected by a rigged tripwire and motion sensor. One wrong move, and the thing would explode, killing them and the signal. They couldn't risk disarming it, but they could track the feed. Mirage connected it to her field tablet. A location popped up on screen.
Old FEMA Depot, East Columbus. They're broadcasting the rescue live from there.
Meanwhile, Brick Nation War Room, East Columbus. Inside the frozen Waffle House turned base, Lil Munchie sat at the counter, staring at a photo of his baby brother, Lil J. He wore red thermals, black gloves, and a pistol on each hip. General Bangs lit a cigar behind him.
You ready to light up the shelters once that fake chopper announcement plays again?
Munchie didn't answer. Instead, he carved something into the wood counter with a steak knife.
TJ Waters, dead by my hand.
Bangs squinted.
That's Kendrick's son?
Munchie nodded.
He shot Jay at the school.
Bangs puffed smoke.
Jay was a soldier.
He was my soldier.
Munchie snapped. Then he stood up, grabbing his rifle.
I don't need the chopper lie. I don't need a squad. I'm going into Columbus alone. I want the boy's face to be the last thing I see warm.
Atlanta, abandoned news station, 2:33 p.m. Cato and Lotto had set up a surveillance post using an old Channel 11 news van, powered by a gas generator and guarded by 2 ex-military shooters. Inside, Keisha stared at the broadcast signal hacking device Mirage had sent over.
It's confirmed,
She said.
That fake rescue message. It's feeding from the same depot Jonas Blackwood, the architect, ran 5 years ago.
Lotto turned from the window.
So he wants the survivors to stay put. Keep them comfy while his soldiers pull up to massacre them.
Cato cracked his knuckles. Columbus shelter. Nightfall. TJ sat alone near the back door, carving Clyde's initials into the wooden wall with his knife. Suddenly, a soft crunch in the snow. Then another. He stood. Outside the gym, a figure moved through the shadows, slow, deliberate, silent. TJ raised his blade.
Who's there?
No answer. Just breathing. The back door creaked, and then, boom! Gunfire exploded. TJ rolled. Mirage tackled him down. 2 bullets slammed into the wall behind them.
Muntie.
She growled.
He's here.
Chapter 8. The Blood Debt Columbus, GA, Middle School Shelter, October 19th, 2027, 9:12 p.m. The power was out again. Only flickers of light came from candles, lighters, and small fires in trash cans scattered through the gym. People were huddled in sleeping bags, whispering stories and prayers. And outside, death crept through the cold. Inside the gym, TJ clutched the pistol Mirage gave him.
He's here, she whispered. Lil Munchie, alone, moving like a shadow.
TJ's hands shook, but his feet stayed planted. His eyes scanned every corner. The way Clyde used to clean floors, he was now sweeping the room, but with intent to kill. They heard a metallic click. Then a bottle rolled across the gym floor. TJ stepped forward. Mirage grabbed his hoodie.
Don't chase the sound, she said. That's bait. He's from the streets.
TJ's face tightened.
So am I.
In the hallway, Munchie crouched in the old nurse's office, watching through the cracked door. He had one pistol, one homemade pipe bomb, and a grudge hotter than any fire in the shelter. He whispered to himself, over and over.
You shot Jay. You smiled when we retreated. You took my blood. Now I take yours.
He stood, tossed the bottle down the hallway, and moved fast toward the kitchen door. Elsewhere in the shelter, Kendrick had just returned from the drone hacking mission with intel on the architect's depot. He was about to warn everyone. Then he saw the fire escape door was ajar. He raised his rifle.
Something's wrong.
Back in the gym, a candle flickered. A scream. A shot fired. People ducked as a figure in red charged through the shadows, firing into the air, causing chaos. Mirage returned fire. Bang! Missing by inches. Then she saw blood dripping from the kitchen, and the small body of Kayla, a 9-year-old girl who used to follow Clyde around. Dead. TJ saw red. He didn't wait. He ran after Munchie. Kitchen. 2 minutes later, Munchie was reloading in the dark when TJ slid across the floor and tackled him from the side. Both guns dropped. They scrambled, punched, bit, fought like animals. Munchie reached for his blade. TJ slammed his fist into Munchie's face, but Munchie caught him with a knee to the ribs, flipped him over, and got on top.
You don't even know what you did, boy, Munchie growled. He wasn't no soldier. He wasn't no shooter. Jay was trying to get out. He was going to leave Brick Nation for good.
TJ spit blood.
And you dragged him in.
Then, he reached for the broken mop handle on the floor and, slam, drove it through Munchie's chest. Munchie gasped, eyes wide, and died with rage in his soul. TJ stood, breathing heavy. Mirage ran in, saw the body. You good? TJ didn't answer. He looked at his shaking hands, then whispered,
This ain't feel like a win.
Later that night, the survivors gathered to burn Munchie's body behind the school. Kendrick looked over the people, the wounded, the frozen, the children who now had to sleep with eyes open. Mirage approached with a folded red cloth, the symbol Brick Nation soldiers wore on their arms.
He had this note in his pocket,
she said. Kendrick read it.
One of them inside works for the architect.
Chapter 9. Judas in the Gym. Columbus, GA, Middle School Shelter, October 20th, 2027, 1 a.m. The gym was silent except for the crackling of the barrel fire and the distant growl of the storm outside. Munchie's body was ashes now, but his message echoed louder than any bullet.
One of them inside works for the architect.
Kendrick stood in front of the survivors, rifle in hand.
We don't panic, he said, but we don't ignore this either.
He looked around at every face. Mothers, veterans, teenagers, children. Then his eyes settled on TJ.
Whoever's leaking info, they let Brick Nation in. That blood is on their hands.
In the hallway, 2:12 a.m.
Zion
sat alone near the locker room, hoodie up, hands trembling. He stared at a flip phone hidden under the bleachers, one of the last working devices Brick Nation had handed out to spies. No signal now, but the damage was done. He whispered to himself.
I just wanted to keep my little bros safe. I didn't know they'd kill kids.
Footsteps. TJ stepped into the hallway, face wrapped in shadow.
I knew it,
he said quietly. Zion looked up, eyes wide. TJ!
You were the only one who knew where we kept Kayla's meds. The shooter went straight there. You told him.
Zion stood slowly.
My brother couldn't breathe, man. They gave me an inhaler. They promised.
And Clyde died for your promises?
Zion's lip quivered.
They said they'd protect him. I didn't know. I swear.
Kendrick appeared behind them, silent as snowfall.
You got two choices, he said. Confess to the group, or we let the storm decide what you're worth.
Later that morning, assembly in the gym. Zion stood in the center of the circle of survivors, hoodie off, eyes low. He confessed everything, said the name the architect like it was a curse. Some people shouted. One mother threw a canned good at his chest. TJ didn't speak. He just stared. Finally, Kendrick stepped forward.
No executions, we ain't Brick Nation,
he said.
But Zion, you're exiled.
Gasps.
You step 1 foot near this shelter again. You better pray the cold kills you quicker than we do.
Zion nodded, crying. TJ walked over, dropped Clyde's old keyring in front of him.
You locked us in with death. Clyde used to lock us in with safety. You don't deserve to carry those memories.
Outside the gym, 7 a.m., Zion stepped into the snow. No coat, no shoes, just regret and frostbite, and the long walk toward whatever punishment the world had left for traitors. Chapter 10. The Depot Raid, East Columbus, former FEMA Depot, October 20th, 2027, 12:32 p.m. The building used to be a place of hope, pallets of food, bottled water, blankets stacked to the ceiling. Now, it was a concrete tomb. Every wall bore the Brick Nation BN tag, sprayed in blood red. Generators hummed, running on stolen gas. Cameras rotated across the snow-covered perimeter. Inside, the architect stood at a control panel, calm, dressed in jet-black military thermals. Around his neck hung a burnt American flag badge, half melted from the fire he used to torch FEMA's final mission. He watched the drone feed from Kendrick's shelter.
They still believe in rescue, he whispered. Good. Let them gather. Let them hope. Let them die together.
Southside Atlanta, 1:05 p.m. Lotto Savage led a convoy of 4 trucks and 30 survivors turned soldiers, all armed, layered in stolen thermal gear, and ready for blood. He leaned out the window, teeth gritted.
This the last time they paint red on our city. We taking it all back, in silence or screams.
Cato followed in the second truck, fire in his eyes. Keisha rode beside him, clutching a sawed-off shotgun and a photo of Clyde she kept in her coat. They weren't just going to raid the depot. They were going to end the architect. Columbus, shelter evacuation, 2:12 p.m. Kendrick, Mirage, and TJ had gathered every remaining survivor, 43 people, into a line of pickup trucks and modified school buses. They were headed for the Stone Ridge Tunnel, an old rail line mirage found on a faded military map. TJ stood on the roof of the lead bus, rifle in hand, eyes scanning the tree line.
If we get hit during this move, Kendrick said, we lose everything.
Mirage answered.
Then we don't get hit.
Elsewhere, abandoned church ruins, same time. Zion Hartfield knelt by a barrel fire inside a collapsed chapel, feeding 2 kids from a can of beans. He looked thinner, eyes darker, but they still held fire. He had survived frostbite, wild dogs, and even a Brick Nation patrol that tried to kill him when he refused to rejoin. Now, he'd built a safe haven in the ruins, a place he called Clyde's Cross. On his chest, Clyde's keys, wrapped on a shoelace. He wore them like armor. Suddenly, a drone buzzed past overhead, Brick Nation's drone. Zion grabbed his pistol and stood in the snow.
Time to pay my debt.
FEMA Depot, 2:40 p.m. Lotto's convoy hit first. One of his shooters, Tone Mack, disabled the perimeter cameras with a signal jammer. Mirage's drone team flew above, feeding real-time footage to Cato's tablet. Then, like thunder in the ice, the gate came down. Boom! Lotto's men flooded the front. Cato's team circled from behind. The depot guards, Brick Nation soldiers in stolen FEMA gear, returned fire, but they weren't ready for this heat. Inside the depot, the architect watched the monitors crackle with static.
Interesting,
he said. Bangs burst in.
They flanked us.
They think they can stop a system with bullets? Blackwood turned to a metal case labeled Project Zero. Inside was a final card, a thermal detonator rigged to blow every depot still standing in Georgia. He smiled.
Let them in. We'll drown them in the cold.
Back at the tunnel entrance, 3:01 p.m., TJ helped load the last group of children into a school bus. Mirage gave the go signal. Suddenly, a Brick Nation truck came flying out of the woods, guns blazing. TJ jumped down, rolled, and returned fire. Then, another shot came from the side. One of the brick soldiers dropped. TJ turned. Zion was standing at the tree line, bleeding, limping, but holding a smoking pistol.
I ain't letting another shelter fall,
he shouted.
Not while I'm breathing.
Kendrick stared in shock. Zion? Zion tossed a grenade into the truck and turned away from the explosion without flinching.
I came back to carry the keys, sir. Not because I'm forgiven, because I'm ready.
FEMA Depot, 3:12 p.m., control room. Cato and Lotto reached the control hub. The architect was waiting.
Gentlemen, he said, standing calmly. Welcome to the rebirth.
Lotto fired. The architect ducked behind the desk, hit a red button.
Too late. This depot's done.
The countdown began. 00:59, 00:58, 00:57. Keisha ran in behind them.
We have to go now.
Lotto grabbed the architect, pistol to his head.
You die first.
Cato pulled Lotto back. They ran. Seconds later, boom! The depot exploded in a ball of white fire and flying ash. The architect vanished in the smoke. Chapter 11. Ashes of the Old Columbus, just outside the depot ruins, October 20th, 2027, 4:23 p.m. Snow fell soft as ash. The ground where the FEMA depot stood was still hot, smoking from the explosion. Twisted steel and melted signs lay like skeletons in the snow. Cato stood silent in the wreckage, shotgun on his shoulder. Lotto kicked a twisted piece of red-painted debris.
You think he's really dead?
Keisha stared at the fire through tears. Not from sadness, from exhaustion, from memories, from everything Clyde stood for.
If he was human, yeah. But something tells me we were never fighting a man.
Columbus, Stone Ridge Tunnel Encampment, 6:09 p.m. The survivors had made it. Mirage's plan worked. The abandoned railway tunnel, a steel giant built beneath the city decades ago, was dry, defensible, and full of iron skeletons from forgotten trains. They turned it into Camp Clyde. Generators whirred. Fires crackled in barrels. Kids drew murals on the walls. And in the middle of it all, Zion hung a chain of keys above the tunnel arch. His chain. Clyde's chain.
This ain't just survival, he told the group. It's structure, it's strength, and we keep it with the keys.
He started training the younger kids, teaching them to navigate the tunnels, break down a weapon, start a fire, and recognize a trap. Kendrick nodded in approval from the side.
You're building more than muscle, he said. You're building purpose.
Zion smiled, just once.
Clyde died for the kids. I'm making sure they don't die for me.
Meanwhile, in the shadows, unknown location. Somewhere in a dark broadcast chamber, emergency wires still sparked. A flicker of a screen, then a voice.
This isn't over.
On the monitor, the architect, face half burned, eyes still cold.
They think they've buried the old world, but the frost only preserves it. Next time, no shelters, no symbols, only silence.
He powered down the system, but not before hitting record. Camp Clyde. That night Keisha sat alone near the fire, Clyde's name etched on the brick wall above her. She closed her eyes and remembered him, his slow walk, his big laugh, the way he always checked on the youngest first. In her dream, he appeared wearing his janitor blues.
You finally leading, girl, he said. Don't stop now. The cold ain't the enemy no more. It's the excuse.
She woke up with tears in her eyes and fire in her heart. TJ's corner of the tunnel. TJ had carved out a space for himself. Bunk beds stacked with donated clothes, a map on the wall, and a rusted chalkboard with scribbles labeled Young Guard, Unit 1. He stood before 7 teenagers, each one carrying a knife, a piece of pipe, or an old hunting rifle.
We're the fire line now, TJ told them. Not soldiers, not shooters. We're the last layer of heat before the world goes cold again.
Zion clapped from the back.
Teach 'em right. We don't need no more gangsters. We need guardians.
Chapter 12. Static in the Signal Camp. Clyde, tunnel interior, October 21st, 2027, 7:45 a.m. The cold was back, not just in the air, but in the tension. Everyone in the camp could feel it. The depot was down, Munchie was gone, but peace felt like a setup. Kendrick ran diagnostics on the radio system Mirage had wired from scavenged parts. Zion trained the youth. Keisha prepared for the first official Survivors Council. And TJ? He stood near the tunnel entrance, looking out into the snow with his hood up.
What you thinking about?
Mirage asked, stepping up beside him.
Nothing good, he said. I keep wondering if this quiet is just a throat clearing before the scream.
9 a.m., Camp Radio Center. The camp's walkie system crackled, then fizzled, then hissed. Everyone froze. Then came a voice, low, slow, and venom-smooth. The architect.
To the children of the fire, I see you. To Zion Hartfield, the Judas who found God in frost. And to Kendrick Waters, the soldier turned school teacher turned shepherd, but most of all, to the boy, TJ.
TJ froze in place. The architect's voice sliced through the static like a scalpel.
You think you're a man now, took your first life, buried your pain, raised your voice. But leadership, young blood, is just violence people trust.
Camp Clyde. Everyone gathers at the speakers. The entire tunnel camp gathered near the main radio, eyes wide, breaths short. The architect continued.
Let me offer you a deal, TJ Waters. You come meet me, alone.
I'll bring food, heaters, medicine, a whole truck. No traps, no tricks, just one conversation. Man to man. Me. And the fire. And if you don't?
A pause, then.
I start killing one shelter a day. And I start with the families that think you can protect them.
Silence. Then chaos. People started yelling, crying, panicking.
He knows his name. It's a trap. He's just a kid. We gotta move camp.
We need to retaliate. Keisha stepped up, firing her shotgun once in the air.
Shut up.
The echoes silenced the crowd.
We don't fall apart over a broadcast. We get stronger. Ain't no devil on the radio gonna turn us inside out.
But TJ was already walking away, fists clenched. TJ's corner, 10:12 a.m. Zion followed him into the shadows.
You're not actually thinking about meeting him, are you?
I'm thinking, TJ said, teeth gritted. I'm thinking he already knows where we are. I'm thinking the cold's coming back. And I'm thinking, if I go, maybe I can end this without another baby getting buried.
Zion grabbed his shoulder.
Clyde didn't die for you to negotiate with the monster.
TJ pulled away.
Clyde died trying to protect people who didn't listen. I'm trying to make sure they do.
Later that night, Camp Clyde Council. Fires Keisha, Kendrick, Cato, Mirage, Lotto, and 2 new community elders sat in a circle of fires. No yelling, just decisions. Cato was against the meeting. Kendrick nodded.
But if we don't respond, he makes an example out of someone else.
Mirage leaned forward.
Let TJ answer him, just not the way he expects.
We set the meat. We bring the truck. But we flip the table.
TJ's voice broadcast back across the radio.
You want a meeting? You got it. 1-on-1. Tomorrow night. You bring food. I bring fire.
The architect's response comes immediately.
Perfect. Let's see what burns hotter. Hope or legacy.
Location. Dead Man's Lake, 5 miles outside Columbus. GA, October 22nd, 2027, 11:59 p.m. The lake was frozen solid, blanketed in snow and silence. It looked like peace, but peace is a mask, and tonight the mask was coming off. TJ stood alone, hoodie up, jaw clenched, pistol tucked under his coat. In his right glove, a small black box, a location tracker and radio mic, rigged by Mirage. In his left, Clyde's keychain, wrapped tight around his knuckles. Behind the tree line, hidden in snowbanks and shadow, were his backup. Zion with a scoped rifle, Mirage with a comms kit and thermal goggles, Cato with a machete and hatred in his breath. The architect arrives, 12:03 a.m. No convoy, no guards. Just one man, tall, burned, calm, walking across the lake's edge like a preacher stepping into Sunday. Face half melted, eyes like winter itself. He carried a metal briefcase in one hand and a small red flag in the other. He walked until he was 10 feet from TJ, dropped the flag, set the case down, then straightened up and smiled.
Young Mr. Waters, the fire that wouldn't die.
The conversation TJ said nothing at first. The architect nodded, amused.
You don't have to speak. Leaders often listen longer than they talk. That's what makes them dangerous.
He tapped the case.
Inside is food, antibiotics, fuel tablets, enough to keep your camp warm and fed for 10 days. All yours. No tricks.
TJ finally spoke.
What's the price?
The architect's eyes lit up.
Just join me. Not as a soldier, not even as a follower, as an heir. You've already done the hardest part. Taken life. You've seen how soft people break. Now I offer you structure, power, control.
TJ laughed cold.
You're offering me a throne made of corpses.
The architect stepped closer.
I'm offering you a way to stop burying people. You could decide who gets to live, who gets saved. Isn't that what Clyde wanted? To save more than he could reach.
TJ freezes. That hit hard. Then he hears Mirage's voice in his earpiece.
Don't let him near your soul. We're all locked in on him. Give the word, we put him down.
TJ's response. He takes the keys from his pocket, lets them dangle.
You think this right here is just a symbol?
He takes a step closer.
Clyde never had control. He had conviction. He didn't pick who to save. He saved everyone he could, even the ones who didn't deserve it.
TJ slams the keys into the snow.
You ain't building a new world. You just burning the last one slower.
The architect smiles, then steps back.
Then your path is chosen.
He points to the case.
Take it. Gift for the camp. I keep my word.
TJ narrows his eyes, then picks it up slowly and tosses it across the ice. Boom! It explodes in a burst of fire and shrapnel, a proximity-triggered trap. TJ dives, rolls. Cato opens fire from the trees. Mirage locks onto the architect. Zion takes a shot, misses. The architect vanishes into the trees, laughter echoing in the cold. Minutes later, regroup at the tree line. TJ's coat is scorched, bleeding from his side. Mirage patches him fast. Zion kicks the snow.
We had the shot. I missed. That's on me.
Cato growls. TJ sits up, breath fogging in the night.
Then here's ours. No more conversations, no more camps. We go to war.
The architect offered legacy. TJ gave him defiance. And now, everything burns.